Breaking news just moments ago, 1 week after a judge ordered the Trump administration to unfreeze federal spending and release all money. The judge says Trump hasn't followed his order. Scripps News legal affairs correspondent Joy Burnett is live for us right now. Joy, I know this is just coming down. Why is this judge issuing a new order, in this case regarding government funding? Hey there, Liz. Well, this judge says new evidence has presented, in this case to prove that there's a possibility, but the federal government is not sending out the money that is spent ordered to send out. Remember when President Donald Trump came back in office, one of his first executive orders had to do with putting a freeze on funding so that they could review how this money was being spent and to also ensure that fraud wasn't in play. But there are ripple effects with regards to this funding freeze. We started to report issues with the Medicaid portal, for example, because that is something that many people started to report about there being an issue with. We also know that there are organizations across the United States that reported not being able to get the funding that they need because they operate sometimes in a week-to-week basis where they're able to pull down money from the federal government to provide vital resources, for example, help for people who have disabilities, for example. So what then happened is a group of attorneys general, a group of states, sued the federal government in order to prevent them from putting this freeze of funding into play. And a judge in Rhode Island, a judge temporarily agreed with them, granted a temporary restraining order, which pretty much told the Trump administration that they need to continue to disperse that funding for all of these organizations that were affected across the United States. But then, today we got word in this court order that was issued by a judge saying that he now has new evidence clearly from these states the government is not sending out the money as they were ordered to do from court order. I want to read a portion of what was written in this really short order, but it really highlights why the judge believes that there could be a constitutional issue here. He said, the broad categorical and sweeping freeze of federal funds is, as a court found, likely unconstitutional and has caused and continues to cause irreparable harm to a vast portion of this country. These pauses and funding violate the plain text of the TRO. The TRO means temporary restraining order. So once again, a judge issued a new order urging the federal government to follow this temporary restraining order. This order that the court issued, which means that the federal government must start issuing these funds again. So if there were any sort of administrative roadblocks where these organizations were not able to get the funds that they need, this court is saying stop, that these organizations need to be able to get these funds. And one thing that we must note here is that this case is still moving through the court system. So there isn't a definitive answer on whether this is illegal, what the federal government is doing or not. They still have to work its way through the court system. But until that is said and done, the judge is saying the government really needs to start issuing these funds once again. Liz, yeah, Joy, I know that this is just coming into us now. So if you're getting any more reaction reporting, please let us know.